This is not as well known. Gentian is also an incredibly bitter herb, and a sweet bitter is ginger. So your 10 o'clock juice, which is Granny Smith apple and ginger, I think it's one of the nicest, has a nice stimulating effect to the blood. Tonight, when we look at poultices, I'll be talking about ginger in detail. So there's some of the herbs that stimulate the liver. Remember, the liver is a recoverable organ, and if you give it the right conditions, it can begin to recover. So let's look at some bitter herbs. Dandelion. Dandelion is a well-known liver herb. Also St. Mary's thistle. St. Mary's thistle is also called milk thistle. And gentian. We're going to have a break now, and when we come back from our break, we're going to be looking at those little chemical messengers in your body called hormones to remain in the detox. So today is probably, if you're going to have any reactions, it will be today. Yeah. But what we have found, that since we've been implementing the protein, we don't get many. You still need those antioxidants, and we certainly are still supplying them, but because you've gone into phase 2, your protein or amino acid requirement is greater. So the protein that we use is a pea protein. It's been adverse reactions happen at all. Now, if someone comes to our program, and it has happened in past times, who is a painter or a hairdresser or a cleaner, they've had big exposure to chemicals, we give them protein every single juice. And we had a Vietnam pre-digested. One lady said, "Who digested it?" It's an enzyme action, like taking milk to yogurt. That initial breakdown has begun. We wanted to bypass digestion because we want your body to, the herbs coming in, they come in and say, "Where would you like me?" That's exactly what they do. Lemon, the humble lemon, has a great tonic effect. You might have heard the old saying, bitter to the mouth, sweet to the stomach. And sweet to the mouth, bitter to the stomach. Well, you apply that to the liver. Bitter to the mouth, it's a sweet to the tonic. So to the liver, a sweet tonic to the liver. So all your bitter herbs. Now there are a couple of herbs that you might be interested to know that specifically have a tonic effect on the liver. In Psalm 104 verse 14, the Bible says that God gave herbs for the service of man. I love that verse because you just picture buying high antioxidant. Did you know that his patients had to eat 3 cups of vegetables a day and 1 cup had to be greens? I think that's the only way they got away with it. Certainly there was enough protein, and certainly adequate levels of good fats which keep those cells nice and supple. Now this explains why yesterday, on Monday, we gave you 2 protein drinks. So you had 5 juices yesterday. So Monday, 5 juices. Your 8 o'clock one was green barley. 10, you'll be having your 5 juices again, but the 8, 12 and 4, you'll be given protein. Whereas the 10 and the 2, that's where you'll get your green barley. Was the protein, 12 was green barley, 2 was protein, and your 4 was green barley, because yesterday your requirements for antioxidants exceeded your liver's requirements for protein. But notice today, well, today's only just started, especially that broth at night, also your juices with your organic fruits and vegetables, and that little bit of Celtic salt that you're having before every glass of water, and vitamin B. Now, Deborah, I think it was you asked me last night, you see that we are nutritionally supporting your liver to effectively detoxify you. I'm going to put this sideways because they are not antioxidants, but your liver needs them at this stage, and that is your minerals. And your minerals are in everything. I think we either make it with either organic soy or almond milk and put a little bit of coconut milk in there with your pea protein powder, so you're getting your vitamin E there. Can you say, why is my urine bright yellow? I said, it's the B vitamins. You're not losing your B vitamins, it's just the reaction that it has in the body. So within 36 hours, phase 2 kicks in. What does phase 2 need? So phase 2 needs protein in many ways that we don't anticipate. I often say we're exposed to 30,000 new chemicals every year, but I was reading an article recently, 100,000 new chemicals every year. You have no say over your neighbour, but you have total say over your little piece. A veteran to our program, he told me that most of his friends were dead, half of them were suicide and half of them were cancer because of the chemicals. I think the Vietnam War was the first war where they used chemical warfare. And his doctor had said to him, don't lose weight. Why did the doctor say that? Because the doctor knew that his fat stores were full of fat-soluble toxins. So we gave him protein every juice. Remember what the protein does? It mops up those toxic metabolites. Now we know our history. We know Jesus went through a 40-day fast, you know, and I think it was a miracle because it was food and water. But we see in times past there are some writers that have advocated long fasts. Today it is not really safe because we are exposed to more fat-soluble toxins than any generation that has ever lived on planet Earth. It's coming in so much. This has only been known since, I think, early 2000s. The more scientist is able to delve deeper into the body, the more is revealed. But you can see why his diet was working, because he has given us a liver that has the ability to detoxify us from the environmental poisons that we are exposed to today. That is the good news. But you'll notice that this also supports what Atkins found. I think when Atkins died, he didn't realise the 3 phases of the liver detox. So just ensure that your washing detergent, the food that you're eating, it can come in so many ways. One lady said, it's going to take me forever to shop. I said, no, only the first shop. You just devote a bit of time, bring your magnifying glass. After that, you know exactly where to go. When I go into the supermarket, I'm not in there long. I know I get that aisle. One man said, just stay on the outside aisles. That's where your fresh things are. So please investigate so that you don't have any more exposure to those chemicals. I thank God that He